If you're here right now, it's not by coincidence. You were meant to receive this message. This isn't the kind of message that lands with just anyone. It's meant for the exact soul who's ready to hear it. You've been carrying burdens no one else can see, wearing a smile while hiding exhaustion, convincing everyone you're okay, even as your spirit keeps whispering that something still doesn't feel right. This message isn't for those coasting through life untested. It's for the quiet warriors, the ones doing the deep inner work, healing in silence, growing without recognition, and pushing forward without applause. So if that's not you, this might not resonate. But if you're exhausted, not because you're weak, and not because you've taken a wrong turn, but because you were chosen for a path most wouldn't survive, keep listening. There's something few ever say out loud. This isn't just a message, it's a coded transmission, and it was always meant to arrive in your awareness at a precise moment. For you, that moment is tomorrow, July 24th. Maybe you've done everything you were supposed to. You've made all the right moves, followed every nudge, yet nothing seems to break through. If that's where you are, don't give up now, because there's a reason for all of it, a purpose that's been hidden from you until now. You might believe you're stuck, but what's really happening is, you've been undergoing a process of preparation. This might be tough to accept, especially when it looks like everyone else is moving forward while you feel left behind, spinning your wheels. But what if I told you you're not behind at all? You were never forgotten, never bypassed or skipped over. You were being positioned with immense care for something you prayed for, something that demands a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you to receive it. That version of you is emerging now. Every closed door, every moment of silence, all the detours, all the waiting, it wasn't random. It was alignment. It was calibration. You didn't sabotage your journey. You simply weren't cleared to advance until now. That's why this moment feels different, because it is. Being underestimated wasn't a side note in your story. It was the necessary setup for what's about to unfold. Let's tell the truth. Over the years, you've been ignored, passed by, misunderstood, sometimes even laughed at. People glanced your way and then dismissed you, unable or unwilling to see the fire within you. Some may have sensed your potential but found it unsettling. You've walked this world as the quiet one, the sensitive soul, the misfit who never really belonged to the space you occupied. Here's the part nobody explains. Early validation would have ruined your mission. If everyone had seen your greatness right away, you might have settled for performance instead of genuine transformation. Their approval would have capped your growth. So the universe withheld it, not as punishment, but as protection, shielding what was still forming in you. This wasn't rejection, it was sacred redirection. You were hidden not because you lacked value, but because you are sacred, set apart. What you carry isn't meant for public exhibition, it's reserved for divine timing. You didn't lose years, you were being shaped, refined in silence. And now that long silence is finally breaking open, when you rise, those who never noticed you coming will be left in awe, because your breakthrough won't be loud, but it will be absolutely undeniable. The very people who once overlooked you will be left speechless, realizing they missed something extraordinary that was right in front of them all along. You were underestimated for a reason, so that when your moment arrived, there would be no doubt, no question, only awe at your undeniable emergence. Even in your quietest moments, when nobody was paying attention, the universe was watching over you. This is for the ones who chose kindness, even when shutting down would have been easier, for those who managed to stay soft and open, even after being hurt or betrayed. This message, this moment is yours. You're one of those rare souls who gave love, even when your own hands were empty, who continued to show up for others, even when the favor was never returned. You could have let life make you bitter. You had every reason to build walls around your heart, to convince yourself that it was pointless to keep giving and caring, but you chose a higher path. You stayed kind, stayed soft and stayed good. That decision, though it might have gone unnoticed by many, carries a significance deeper than you may realize. Not every act of generosity came back to you, not yet. Not every good deed was recognized or celebrated, but every single one was witnessed by something far greater, something timeless and precise. The universe, spirit, and all the unseen forces that are quietly cheering for you. They saw it all, every selfless choice, every moment of compassion, every time you showed up when it was hardest. None of it was wasted. There is a quiet reward coming your way. It won't announce itself with noise or drama, but when it arrives, it will feel perfect, like life itself finally heard your silent prayers. You never had to fight to prove your worthiness. You were always enough, just as you are. Now, for the first time in what feels like forever, your outer reality is about to rise up and reflect your true energy. There is something good heading toward you that you don't have to force, chase, or struggle for. It's yours because you've already earned it through every moment. You kept your heart open. Soon you'll finally understand why the wait was so long, and why now is the moment your life gives you the green light you've been longing for. Quick pause, family. If this message is striking a chord with your spirit and you want to support this sacred work, you can buy me a coffee. Your support keeps this space vibrant with truth, light, and divine clarity. The link is in the description, and if this is landing for you, drop number 88 in the comments. Let's keep moving forward together. Remember, your pace is divine, and your journey unfolds on a sacred timeline. In the spiritual community, you're constantly told to raise your vibration, align your chakras, heal your wounds, stay high frequency, ascend, awaken on repeat. Somewhere along the line, that message may have left you feeling like you're somehow behind, like there's a race you're losing, or an invisible finish line you're not reaching fast enough. But here's the truth that almost nobody says out loud: there is no race, there is no finish line. There is no higher dimension you have to reach just to be worthy or valid. You don't need to sprint to enlightenment or perfect yourself before you can be spiritual. You don't have to feel pure every day or be overflowing with light every second to be in alignment. You don't have to rise above your emotions or pretend everything is always love and light when what you're really feeling is confusion, grief, frustration, or anger. Your humanity isn't a weakness or a mistake, it's the actual path to awakening. You are not behind, you are not slow, you are not broken. You're exactly on time for your own unique soul journey. There's no final level to reach, no need to rush into the light. The light is already here, walking beside you every step of the way. Sometimes standing still is the progress you need. Sometimes resting is the most sacred act. Sometimes sitting with your pain or feeling lost and disconnected is exactly where true integration and growth happen. Your awakening doesn't always show up as fireworks or sudden breakthroughs. More often, it's in the quiet moments, crying alone in your car, making the hard choice to walk away from toxic cycles, or simply choosing inner peace instead of endlessly proving yourself. That too is sacred. That too is spiritual. You're not here to perform enlightenment for anyone else's approval. You're here to live it on your own terms, at your own sacred rhythm. Even on the days when doubt creeps in, when you feel numb, unmotivated, or disconnected from your purpose, your worthiness is not in question. In fact, it is in those very moments when you're most unsure that your soul is quietly whispering, reminding you that you are still sacred, still enough. So allow yourself a breath, give yourself permission to pause and let the pressure to be on time melt away. You're not behind. You're simply holy in your becoming. You've spent so much of your life protecting others. You've been the strong one, the anchor, the energy holder in the room, the one who steps forward when no one else will. You have carried the pain, the silence, the confusion, and even the chaos of those around you, sometimes so consistently that you've forgotten the one who needed protection most. The younger version of you, That child who wasn't chosen, who had to grow up too fast, who never felt fully safe. They're still with you, not lost or broken, but patiently waiting for someone to finally say, you don't have to fight anymore. That someone is you. You're the grown-up now. You have the power to give yourself all the care, safety, and nurturing that little one needed and never got. You have poured healing into others, made sure they felt seen, heard, and safe. But how long has it been since you did the same for yourself? This is about more than just patching up old wounds. It's about creating a home inside your own being. A place where your inner child doesn't have to prove their worth, walk on eggshells, or brace for rejection. It's about making space where you can finally rest, knowing you are safe, because you are now in your own hands. Whisper to yourself what no one else ever did. You are safe here. You don't have to survive anymore. You're allowed to simply live. The world may not have given you the security you craved as a child, but now, as an adult, you have the strength not only to survive your past, but to consciously create a new reality for yourself. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, abandoned, or unworthy, don't silence the voice inside that aches for comfort. Sit with that feeling. Embrace the part of you that still hurts. Let them know the struggle is over and peace is finally possible. You've carried pain for so long. It's time to become a carrier of peace instead. Especially if hopelessness has been weighing you down lately. Those days when you want to just turn everything off, not in a dramatic gesture, but in a quiet soul-deep exhaustion. The kind of tired that isn't just in your muscles, but in your spirit. When you hear the whisper, maybe this just isn't for me, remember that voice is not the end. It's actually a sign you're standing at the threshold of something new. That ache inside isn't about breaking down, it's about breaking open. It's pressure before a breakthrough, not a signal to give up, but proof that change is so close you can feel it pressing against your old limits. You've done so much inner work that your own growth feels invisible now. It's become your new normal. You've transcended so many levels, healed so many layers, survived so much in silence, that you've almost forgotten what winning feels like. But that breakthrough, that win, is closer than you realize. You don't have to keep proving yourself, searching for signs, or forcing clarity. Sometimes the moment you let go, not give up, but surrender, is the moment life finally lifts you and carries you where you've been straining to go for years. That sudden urge to try something new, reach out to someone, or shift your routine, that's not random, that's the energy of transformation, the universe whispering that you're ready for more. If you've felt numb lately, that's a sign too, because sometimes breakthroughs arrive, not with thunder and lightning, but with silence. The world gets quiet, the air shifts, and you feel a strange restlessness in your body, as if your soul knows something is coming before your mind can comprehend it. You haven't wasted your time, and you haven't been forgotten or abandoned by life. The pieces are aligning in ways you can't yet see, quietly assembling behind the scenes. So if you've been tempted to quit, to walk away, understand that it's only because you're standing right at the edge. The door is about to swing open. All you have to do is stay with yourself just a little longer. Trust that it's all unfolding in divine timing. Even if you can't see the design yet, there's an undeniable discomfort in being between worlds, not quite where you used to be, but not yet where you dream of going. You sense the change in your bones, even though your surroundings may look the same, or even more confusing and unrecognizable than ever. But this in-between, this uncertainty, is the sacred passageway to your next chapter. Stay present, hold yourself with tenderness, and know that every moment is moving you closer to where you truly belong. And in that strange middle ground where nothing seems certain, it's only natural to start questioning yourself, to wonder, did I make a mistake? Let me assure you, you didn't. What you're feeling is not failure, it's the void. The sacred, unnerving, wildly misunderstood space between your old life and your next chapter. This void isn't empty, it's fertile with possibility. It feels slow and out of sync, like the universe has suddenly gone silent and stopped returning your calls. But beneath that silence, an unseen rearrangement is unfolding, a cosmic orchestration you can't yet perceive. You are not lost. Even if your heart aches for clarity, you're not off course. You're simply being rooted, guided with loving precision towards something greater, something you don't even have a name for yet. Think back to the pivotal moments that shaped your life. Did they ever make perfect sense as they unfolded? Usually, it's only in hindsight that the pieces align, that the meaning emerges. In the thick of transformation, clarity rarely comes. Right now you may feel like nothing is clicking. Relationships may shift unexpectedly, opportunities may stall, and your own emotions may swing wildly between hope and doubt. But none of that is a sign that you're doomed, or that everything is falling apart. It's the nervous system of your reality rebooting itself, reconfiguring beneath the surface with quiet, deliberate intention. Even the detours, the delays, the pauses, the doors that didn't open, are part of your unique design. The setback you're frustrated about today may turn out to be the very thing that protected you from harm or disappointment you never saw coming. The silence you're enduring might actually be the sanctuary you needed to finally hear your own true voice again. And that persistent feeling of being off track, it could be the subtle guidance that leads you to a version of yourself that's braver, bolder, and far more aligned than you've ever been before. Trust isn't always easy, especially when it seems like the universe is stripping things away and leaving you with nothing but empty space. But it's in that emptiness, the raw, open void, where the deepest magic happens. That's when the ego finally lets go and the soul steps up to steer your life in a new direction. Sometimes you won't get the answers you're desperate for. Instead, you'll find the strength to keep moving forward without them. So take a breath. Surrender the urge to fix or figure out the entire picture. You're not meant to have it all mapped out. Your path isn't broken, it's simply unfinished. And soon, perhaps sooner than you think, all the confusion, all the struggle will crystallize into a divine design, so perfect, you'll realize it could never have happened any other way. The events that once seemed random or unfair will reveal themselves as the most meaningful, loving setup of your life. There's a belief floating around spiritual circles that to be truly awake is to have no desire for more, to accept as little as possible, to find contentment in simplicity alone. You may have heard that a spiritual life means needing nothing but air, water, and maybe a meditation app. But let's be honest, wholeness is not found by starving yourself of joy, comfort, or abundance. That's just another form of spiritual imprisonment, dressed up in incense and silent suffering. You're allowed to want more, not out of greed or emptiness, but from a place of expansion. You're allowed to want more than just survival. You're allowed to want to thrive. You're allowed to crave abundance, joy, love, fulfillment, and yes, even wealth and visibility. Not just for yourself, but for those whose lives you touch. You weren't chosen to live small or to hide your gifts from the world. You were chosen to shine so brightly that others are inspired to do the same. Society may have taught you that wanting more makes you selfish or ungrateful, but what if your desire for more is actually the universe calling you forward into your destiny? Wanting more freedom, more peace, more resources, more love, more visibility isn't about hoarding or boasting. It's about stepping into your true purpose. It's about being able to give, to create, to elevate others, and to finally build a life that feels as good as it looks. Shrinking yourself isn't spiritual. Apologizing for your dreams isn't holy. Playing small does not make you humble. It only dims your light. Real humility is the ability to own your power, to stand tall without needing to diminish anyone else, to be magnetic and bold while still carrying a soft, open heart. The truth is, your desire is sacred. To want is not to be greedy, it's to be alive. To be in touch with the pulse of your own soul's longing, it means you're awakening to a life where you refuse to settle for half-hearted love, half-baked dreams, or a muted existence. The universe doesn't judge you for wanting more. In fact, it celebrates your courage to ask. You are brave for dreaming of a bigger life, and you are worthy of receiving all that your heart yearns for. This is your time to claim it, to step fully into the abundance, love, and joy that have always been meant for you. Your hunger for more, for deeper purpose, for a fuller life, for richer love, and for the freedom to finally expand is not a character flaw. It's not something to suppress or question or apologize for. That longing inside you, that relentless tug that says there is more, is actually your soul's compass. It's a divine instrument, guiding you toward growth, abundance, and the higher reality you came here to experience. So if you've been secretly waiting for some kind of confirmation, some cosmic permission slip to finally go after a bigger life, let this moment be your sign. This is it. You're not betraying your spirit by reaching for more, by wanting to rise beyond where you are. In fact, you're fulfilling the promise your soul made long before you were born, a promise to fully awaken, to discover what you're truly capable of, and to live a life that honors every ounce of your potential. This very moment, this pause, this heartbeat, this silent agreement between you and the universe is your proof. It says the sacred reward for everything you have quietly endured, and all the integrity you have poured into every step along the way. So many people spend years, sometimes their whole lives, waiting for the right time, for some magical sign to appear, for everything to finally line up perfectly, for the universe itself to speak out loud and say, yes, now is your moment. But what almost no one tells you is this: the sign you've been waiting for isn't some blinding flash of insight or a message spelled out in the sky. It's not always dramatic or obvious. The real confirmation has been with you all along. It's in the quiet, unbreakable resilience that has carried you through every storm, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer. You didn't just stumble across this message or randomly find yourself in this season of your life. There are no accidents here. Your journey has been more purposeful than you realize. Every detour, every delay, every disappointment was not a detour away from your destiny, but a divine routing guiding you with precision to this exact moment of awakening. This isn't just another stop along the road to somewhere else. This is the sacred arrival. The fact that you are still here, still showing up for yourself and others, still keeping your heart soft after everything you've been through, that's not ordinary. That's your soul's signal that you are ready, that you have become someone capable of receiving, holding, and honoring the blessings you've been praying for. Think about it. You've grown into someone who can hold space for others, even when your own world has felt shaky or uncertain. You've learned how to trust the process, not because it always made sense, but because somewhere deep inside you refused to let confusion break your spirit. You have learned to walk with humility and grace, to keep your wonder alive even as you became wiser, to become softer without losing your core strength. And even on the hardest days when you questioned everything and felt like maybe you were failing, you never truly stopped listening. You never truly gave up. All of this, every silent victory, every invisible act of faith, has been building toward this. This is not just a prologue. It's not just another ordinary page. This is a living chapter that demonstrates your power in real time. You're not just watching your purpose unfold from the outside. You are the living, breathing unfolding of it, of every quiet decision you made with integrity, every moment you chose to be kind, every time you forgave, every time you kept going when it would have been easier to quit, became a message the universe has written in your name. You don't need to keep chasing after more signs, or dissecting every feeling, or searching for that next big moment. The message you need is not a puzzle to solve. It's right here, alive in your presence, in the way you've shown up for your own life, even when nobody was clapping for you. The breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't a dramatic event waiting somewhere in the future. You've been living it all along. You just didn't recognize it because it didn't arrive with fireworks or applause. Sometimes the greatest miracles look like simply refusing to give up. Sometimes the most profound arrival feels more like a gentle exhale, a quiet recognition that I'm here, I made it, I'm still standing. So let yourself feel it, breathe it in. This is not just another passing moment. This is the arrival you've been longing for, the place where your soul can finally rest in the truth that you are enough, that you have always been enough. And the truly beautiful part is that you don't need this moment to feel extraordinary for it to be extraordinary. There are no trumpets, no parades, no sudden curtain reveals, just a deep inner knowing that whispers, you're not lost, you've just been arriving all this time. Even on the days when you felt like nothing was changing, when progress seemed invisible, you were changing in ways only your soul could measure. When the world around you remained silent, your inner truth grew louder and more authentic. The shift you're feeling right now is not something the world gave you, it's something you have earned with every moment you chose to keep your heart open, every time you chose love over fear, faith over despair. July 24th isn't just a date on the calendar, it's the first sunrise where you can finally see and feel the evidence of your own transformation. It's the day you realize that you are, and have always been, the message you were waiting for. Every step, every challenge, every moment of waiting was not wasted. It was sacred preparation for your emergence. And now, as you stand here at the threshold of your next season, you can finally welcome yourself home. This is your time, the door is open, and you are ready, not just to receive your breakthrough, but to become it. This moment in your life is no longer about waiting for something to happen or endlessly searching for new signs. It's about finally living as if the message has already arrived, because the truth is it has. The universe hasn't just started sending you signs and synchronicities, they've been scattered all around you, woven into your everyday experiences, patiently waiting for you to notice. The real shift is realizing that you were never disconnected, never left out, never missing the signals. You just lost faith in your own ability to recognize them. Maybe life got noisy. Maybe the world taught you to question your feelings, to mistrust those subtle nudges in your chest before everything changed, to dismiss those coincidences when someone you thought about suddenly reached out to you, but none of it was ever random. Those sensations, the heaviness in your chest before things unraveled, the tingling of excitement or warning before a major turn, the urge to pause or say no, even when everything on the outside said yes. Those were never just fleeting emotions. They were the voice of your guidance system, speaking long before you even knew to call it intuition, long before you had the vocabulary for spirituality. You have always been tuned in. You have always been wired to receive the deeper signals, the sacred information the universe was delivering just for you. Somewhere along the way, though, you learned to doubt yourself. Maybe you absorbed the doubts of others who told you not to be so sensitive, who labeled your awareness as paranoia, or called your instincts illogical. Maybe you tried to grow up and be more rational, more realistic, pushing down that wild, ancient knowing inside you so you could fit into a world that celebrated only what could be measured and explained. Maybe you simply got tired of feeling everything so deeply, of knowing things no one else could sense, of being the one who always noticed the warning signs before anyone else did. So you learned to silence yourself, to smooth over your discomfort, to keep the peace even as every cell in your body screamed that something was off. But the real truth is, you've never needed to learn how to listen to your inner wisdom. You've always been listening. You've always known. Before every betrayal, you recognized the red flags, even if you tried to ignore them. Before every major transition, you felt the energy shift, the goosebumps, the chills, the urge to step away or let go. Those weren't just symptoms of anxiety or random emotions to be brushed aside. That was your inner compass, your spirit trying to get your attention, desperately wanting to be heard above the noise. You don't need anyone else to decode the signs for you. You don't need to go searching for a guru or a teacher to interpret what you feel inside. You've already been reading the messages. You've already noticed the patterns, even if you couldn't fully explain them to others. You've known in your bones who could be trusted and who couldn't, when to stay and when it was time to walk away, even when it broke your heart. You've sensed when things were about to fall apart or fall together, long before anything was visible on the surface. This intuitive ability is not something new suddenly awakening in you. It's an ancient truth resurfacing, a sacred part of your design that's always been with you. And now, at this crossroads, you are being called to reclaim that inner knowing. The world is growing louder, busier and more confusing every day. Chaos and distraction are everywhere. But through all the noise, your quiet, unshakable knowing will always cut through. That inner voice never shouts, never demands, but it has never lied to you. It has always led you toward your greatest good, even when the path made no sense to anyone but you. It's time to stop waiting for outside validation or searching for someone to give you permission to trust yourself. The world can be skeptical, but you don't need confirmation from anyone outside of you. Your inner knowing is not a guess, not a vague hunch, not wishful thinking. It's a sacred language, a divine dialogue between you and the universe itself. And it's time to let yourself speak it openly, fluently, and without apology. Take a moment to reflect on all the times you were guided, through moments you thought you'd never survive. Think of the decisions you made that seemed illogical at the time, but turned out to be exactly what you needed. Remember how, even in your darkest hours, you always managed to find your way. You already know how to walk through the unknown, because you've done it again and again. So trust that gentle inner knowing, especially when it's soft, especially when it whispers instead of shouts. Because right now that intuition you've been doubting isn't just important. It's the compass pointing you directly toward where you're meant to be. This isn't just the return of your intuition. It's the reawakening of your original language, your deepest power, and the key to everything that's coming next. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me to trust you even when the evidence around me is missing. Let me believe in your constant presence, knowing you will never bring me harm. I hold to your promise that your thoughts for me are of peace and prosperity, to give me a future filled with hope. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I lift this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and unending provision. I'm truly grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you continually bring. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Leave a comment below and tell us about your journey, how you're preparing for your own powerful return. If you'd like to support our work, consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. Every gift, no matter how small, a penny, a prayer, or a simple share, helps us continue spreading God's word and bringing hope to others. You'll find the link in the description. And don't stop here. Watch our next video for more divine insight on the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've loved walking with you on this spiritual journey. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining your light. Embrace your calling. Step boldly into your destiny. Until next time, blessings to all the beautiful souls watching.